Hello, Warhammer 40K Imperial Knights players. In this video, we will be doing a very deep dive into Lay Low the Tyrant, which is the army rule for Imperial Knights. So what Lay Low the Tyrant does is it allows every knight to reroll one hit and reroll one wound. So first of all, we're going to dive into the math. And we're going to go over the formulas for how to calculate re-rolling a single hit or a single wound off of a different number of attacks. So first of all, conceptually, the formula for re-rolling a single hit is the chance that it hit plus the chance that it missed multiplied by everything inside the parentheses. And that is the chance that one of the previous attacks missed times 0, plus the chance that one of the previous attacks hit times the chance to hit after you reroll. So that's the hit chance for a single reroll put to words. So now we're going to dive into some sample numbers here. Consider a weapon with one attack with a ballistic skill of 3 up. That means on a fair 6-sided dice, if you roll a 3, 4, 5, or 6, then you hit. If you roll a 1 or 2, you miss. And we're going to consider no rerolls in the beginning. So your hit chance is 2/3 or 0.66. And just for calculation purposes, so that you guys can look at numbers instead of looking at a bunch of decimals, we got a 50% chance to wound, a 50% chance to not save, and 10 damage. So with one attack, when you multiply everything out, your total damage is 1.65. With a reroll of a single attack off of one attack, you have 2.1945. So your damage increases about a third, 0.33. Now, if you have 2 attacks with the same characteristics for everything else, you're doing 3.3 total damage on average. That's your expected damage from 2 attacks. So let's go down here. And what I do is I'm breaking both attacks down into separate formulas. Because on shot 1, you have no chance that one of the previous attacks missed. You don't have any previous attacks. And that's why you have a 2/3 chance to hit, plus a 1/3 chance that you missed, and then you re-roll it, times a 2/3 chance that you successfully land a shot in the reroll. And when you take this formula for the first shot, you have 2.1945, which is the same as the previous example for your first shot. That's your expected damage. Now, going on to your second shot, now you have to consider whether you hit the first shot or not. So now we have 2/3 chance to hit plus a 1/3 chance to miss. But now we have to consider, did the previous attack miss or hit? Now, since in our conceptual formula, the chance that one of the previous attacks missed has a value of 0, all we have to consider is the chance that one of the previous attacks hit. So if one of the previous attacks hit, remember that on your first shot, you had a 2/3 chance to hit. Now, you multiply by the chance to hit when you reroll. And the reason why the chance that one of the previous attacks missed has a 0 assigned to it for the second shot up is because if one of your previous attacks missed, then you already re-rolled it. And so you don't get to re-roll again because Lay Low the Tyrant only lets you re-roll one attack. So here you can see that as each shot count goes up, you're just multiplying 2/3 onto the 0.33, your chance to miss. And so your Xth shot, meaning it could be your 10th shot, it could be your 9th shot, whatever, you have a 2/3 chance plus 1/3 times 2/3 to the power of X minus 1, where X is your number of attacks, times 2/3. And so you can take each shot individually, get the damage for each shot, and then make your total, or you can just use one formula by averaging the hit chance across all your shots. And that is this formula right here. You guys can pause the video and find the average and you'll come up with this formula right here. And that way, when you're making big spreadsheets, you don't have to break out every single shot. You can just apply this formula as your hit chance and put it right there. And you can see here whether you sum up all the damage or you take the average hit chance and just multiply your damage times the number of attacks, you come up with the same thing. And so the big take here is given everything else is the same, as your shot count increases, the percent increase that Lay Low the Tyrant gives you decreases. And the reason for that is because for every attack that you have, that means that one of your previous shots missed and you already used up that reroll. And since the chance of already using up that reroll increases for the Xth shot, you have more gains from Lay Low the Tyrant the fewer attacks you have. So the next part of the video is going to discuss which units Lay Low the Tyrant benefits the most. You might be thinking, the Knight Valiant has a one-shot weapon, so going by your previous logic, shouldn't it see the best increase in damage from Lay Low the Tyrant? Not necessarily. And we'll go into the numbers and I'll explain why. So here's a Knight Valiant without Lay Low the Tyrant versus with Lay Low the Tyrant against a Toughness 12 2-up save target. You got a 5/6 chance to hit because it hits on a 2-up. It has strength of 24. It's double, so it also wounds on a 2-up. So you have a 5/6 chance for that. And you do 12 damage, and you have an average of 8.33, so 8 1/3 damage, without using Lay Low the Tyrant. Now, with Lay Low the Tyrant, you can see that your hitting chance increases, and your wounding chance increases. Your damage is the same, and with Lay Low the Tyrant, re-rolling your single hit and your single wound, your average damage comes out to 11.34. It increases by about 3 damage. a little more than 3 damage. But the percent increase is a little more than 1/3. It's 36.11%. That sounds good, but let's look at the Knight Castellan. The Knight Castellan has D3 shots, and that means the expected number of shots is 2 shots. And that's why in the attacks here, I put 2, just to simplify it. And the Knight Castellan has a ballistic skill of 3 up. And so you have 2/3 here. And it's a little squished, but let me open this up so you can see. There you go. You got a 2/3 chance to hit, a 2/3 chance to wound because its weapon is strength 18, not strength 24. So now it wounds on a 3 up as well. And it does on average 11.5 damage. And how you find that is it does D6 plus 8 damage. And I'm not going to consider the reroll damage rolls of 1. You can do that yourself after watching one of my other videos where I break down how D6 works and how rerolling rolls of 1 work. In this video, we are focusing on rerolling a single attack and a single wounding attempt. So here you have an average damage of 10 and 2/9. So 10.2222, that's 10 and 2/9 with the Knight Castellan without Lay Low the Tyrant. Just a side topic here, you can see that the Knight Castellan against this opponent profile actually does more average damage than the Knight Valiant. Again, though, we're not considering that the Knight Valiant also has anti-vehicle, anti-monster, 4 up, and devastating wounds. Again, those different weapon profiles will be covered in a different video. We are purely looking at Lay Low the Tyrant and looking at which units it's most effective with. So here we have the Castellan without Lay Low. And here's the Castellan with Lay Low. The hit chance increases, the wound chance increases, damage stays the same, and here you have 16.259. You have about 16.25 damage, and the percent increase here is a whopping 59% increase. So from our previous conversation, it looks like single shot weapons get the most benefit, right? Yes, it still does, but the reason why the Knight Castellan looks like it's getting more benefit in this case is because of the fact that the Knight Castellan has a higher chance to miss in the first place, and it has a higher chance to not wound in the first place. So obviously, being able to reroll a hit or reroll the wound is going to help it because it already has a higher chance to miss and not wound in the first place. Now, if the Knight Valiant had a ballistic skill of 3 up instead of a 2 up, hypothetically, now we see that the percent increase that the Valiant gets for his 1 shot is actually about 55.5%. So, now we wrap up this video with the final conclusion. Which knights does Lay Low the Tyrant benefit the most? And the answer is twofold. First, Lay Low the Tyrant benefits knights that have lower shot count. And second, it benefits knights that are more likely to miss or not wound in the first place. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're interested in looking at numbers and formulas for how to calculate, for example, rolls of damage 1 or all hit rolls of 1, then please like and subscribe so that you can support my channel, and also so that you get updated when I drop other videos mentioning more calculations on other aspects of Warhammer 40K and Knights specifically. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys learned something. Have a great day.